this anthem tracks. Boy, I ain't playing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Grown Man Shit. Today, I have a special guest for you. His name is Jim Kellner. I'm saying that wrong. Kellner. See? He has to hypnotize me to say this right. And the funny thing is, he is a hypnotist. Back in the day, I worked with this man and doing some marketing stuff. Didn't know he was going to be as big of a deal as he is now. He's done TED Talks and a whole bunch of other stuff. Please give this guy a big welcome. Jim, please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thanks, Ajamu. I was doing hypnosis back then, but I hadn't taken off yet. And so I'm a comedy hypnotist and a hypnotherapist and a speaker. And I guess now I'm an event promoter.
Wow.
I'm co-sponsoring the Pacific Northwest Hypnosis Conference. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I just finished up one. It's called the Performing Hypnosis Summit, and that was really geared towards folks that perform hypnosis, so stage hypnosis and speaking and things like that.
Okay. So what got you into hypnosis?
Oh man, I was just one of those weird kids. I was one of those. I was just such a dork. I was in like junior high, so middle school, and I'm in the library checking out books on Chinese medicine, hypnosis, psychology, voodoo. I remember.
Wow. Okay.
I got this book on voodoo, and I wanted to make this girl fall in love with me. Right? Of course, that's what all little boys want, right?
Yes.
And so I'm reading this thing, and I'm looking at the recipe, and I'm like, ooh, I can do this. And then it gets to like chicken head, and I'm like, damn, I guess I'm out of luck. Where am I going to find a chicken head?
Right.
So she didn't fall in love with me. And so, I was kind of just always interested. I remember when I was about 17, I checked out a book on hypnosis, and I had my little sister. She's 3 years younger than me, and she's like sitting on the couch next to me, and I'm reading this book. She's staring at the candle. I'm like, stare at the candle. Your eyes are getting heavier. And that was my first attempt at hypnosis. And then, I just kind of played around with it for years, took self-hypnosis classes, and then I got certified in 2000. It wasn't until about 2000, when did I start? We're in 2023, so it must have been about 2008, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I started working for a chain called Positive Changes.
Okay.
Used to be here in the Northwest. They went bankrupt since then. Wasn't my fault. Probably. And so I worked there. I was working with 20 or 30 clients a week, all kinds of things, weight loss and smoking and nail biting and all that stuff. And then finally, about 6 months after this, a friend of mine who owned Tacoma Comedy Club, we were talking because I used to be a comic also.
Okay.
And he said, "Hey, you want to do a comedy hypnosis show?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so that's kind of where everything kicked off.
Great. What was it like doing a TED Talk?
Dude, I tell you what, it was. I almost missed it.
Really?
I almost missed it because I thought it was bullshit. Because, when you, so everybody gets a lot of scam email, right? You get the Nigerian princes and all this stuff, right?
Most did. Yes.
But I got this one, and as a business owner, you get even more of them. And so I get this email, and it says something like, we'd like to consider you we'd like you to perform at the Grand Canyon University TEDx talks that are coming up in February. And this was like October of the year before, and I'm like, yeah, right. Why would they want me? This I kept asking myself, yeah, why me, right? And so I don't reply. And then after about a week, I was like, you know what? I come across it again. I go, let me just see what these guys are trying to pull. See what they're going to try to get me for. And so I sent them back an email. And I go, how much is this going to cost me? And she immediately writes back. She says, no, there's no cost. You don't make any money. You don't charge any money. That's TED. And I'm like, wait, this is real? And so, it turned out that they had actually had somebody else referred. They decided that they want to have a hypnotist for the event.
Mm-hmm.
And there was somebody else, like a big name in town that had been there for a long time, years. And apparently she went and looked at their website, and they looked like they probably weren't great. And so I had a good website. And so
based off the website.
I got to tell you guys, I mean, look, if you're in business, man, you got to have a good website. Really.
Website has to be correct.
Yeah, and so the thing was about it was so stressful. You know, I've been on stage for like 20 years before I even did the TED Talk. And I was so stressed because it's like there's so much writing on it, you know, so much. And I really, and if I could go back, I would actually aim for 16 minutes. Because when you aim for 18 minutes, then you go over. But if you aim for 16, you can still, because it's supposed to be under 18 minutes.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was just an incredible experience. I still kind of pinch myself. You know, I can't believe I got the opportunity.
Well, most definitely congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And what's been your craziest hypnotism that you've performed on a person?
Boy, there's a lot of those.
Please explain as much as you want.
Well, I'll tell you. You know, one of my favorites was down at Alki, and we're doing some street hypnosis, and that's, you know, people just kind of impromptu stuff. They'll come up and volunteer, and there's this woman, and she's like, "Oh, I can't be hypnotized." I'm like, "Oh, okay, fine," and I start talking to her. I go, and I start kind of working my magic, doing some hypnosis type stuff. And next thing you know, she's going, "Well, I guess I could try." I was like, "All right," and so I'm doing this, and it's actually on my YouTube channel. I'm like putting her in a trance, and she's starting to go, and I can tell she's resisting it. Stop resisting, stop resisting. And the more you resist, the deeper you go. And she was just freaking out because it was like she had no control. Usually people can control, but there's some people that, you know, it's like they don't. They kind of go along with it. And if she really, really wanted me to stop, I'd stop, of course. But
Yeah, most definitely.
so that was an interesting one. But I'll tell you one of my funniest stories is one of my favorite bits to do is a missing body part. And so,
Wow.
and if you're a man, you might guess which part that is.
Oh, not cool. But please continue.
So I don't do this bit very much anymore because I do mostly corporate shows and shows at schools.
Okay.
So it's not appropriate for that. But when I'm doing it at the comedy club or a bar or something, the funniest thing in the world is to go, you know, on the count of 3, your penis is missing, and I've been doing this bit for a while, and it always gets, you know, people love it. You know, the audience goes nuts. But I'm this guy. I can still remember his face. You know, actually, he's over on my right. Put my hand on his shoulder. I go, "You, person I'm touching right now. On the count of 3, when I say 3, your penis is missing. It's totally gone. Can't find it. Missing, gone." And I count to 3. He stands up. He immediately starts crying. No kidding. He just starts bawling, dude. I'm talking like big old tears, like legit. And the audience just, boom, they're cracking up because they can see the tears. He's crying, and I'm feeling terrible because I've just made this guy cry. And I'm like, all right, sleep. And I go, all right, now on the count of 3, your penis is still missing, but we are going to find it. It'll be bigger and better than ever before. And so I bring him back, and he's a little bit more calm now. He's a little bit more relaxed.
Okay.
And so we go through the whole routine, and it's so funny to watch these guys like moving around and like, you know, when they're going, and you go up to them and go, so are you missing anything? No, I'm fine. You know, I'm fine. So yeah, I love that. It's just but I felt bad too. You know?
So what is it like having or being able to use a talent like that? I mean, does it come with responsibilities? Does it come with principles that you need to be aware of? Yeah,
absolutely. You know, so one of the things that people ask me sometimes, they'll say, "Guys, can you make a woman take her clothes off?" And I'm like, well, I can do that without hypnosis.
Right.
Maybe you need hypnosis, I don't.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with hypnosis. I'll tell you after. I remember this one time, especially. This young lady right after the show, she says to me, because I always go, you know, hey, what was the experience like for you? Mm-hmm. And she goes, it was so weird. She goes, I knew it was happening, but I couldn't stop myself. And I was like, oh, don't tell me that. And it's not, you know, everybody doesn't react the same. Everybody, you know, there's different levels and that kind of thing. But yeah, there is some responsibility, and it's funny because there's I'll say a lot. There's a fair amount of guys that try to learn hypnosis and some other language patterns and things like that to pick up women.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's fine if it just gives you confidence and kind of helps you to word things in a way that's going to help you. But I know guys that I've heard of guys that are trying to actually do hypnosis on women to make them like go out with them, have sex with them, whatever. And I've even had people hit me up on ask me if I'll teach them that. And I'm like, why don't you just spend your time getting a personality?
Right.
And so, because it's still sort of against their will. It's not ethical anyway. So, yeah, there is some responsibility, and I'll tell you, because here's kind of the way it is. Like, I couldn't necessarily make a woman, take her top off, like take off your top, right? Mm-hmm. But I can make her think that I'm Brad Pitt for a little while, right? So
that's even cooler though.
Right?
Like, you're taking your top off. I'm Tupac, right?
Right. So they're happy to do it, right?
Right. It's not against their will at that point.
Dear diary.
That is cool. That is cool. Do you teach anybody how to hypnotize themselves, going after, certain things that they may want in life? Mm-hmm. Rather it is money, rather it is a better way to propel themselves in their career. Mm-hmm. Are you a coach in that way, mm-hmm. or do you hypnotize them for that?
Mostly, so I do teach self-hypnosis, and for some people, self-hypnosis is really helpful, but it's sort of like the difference between, working out in your basement by yourself or working with a coach, mm-hmm. a trainer, So some people very disciplined and they're really focused and they can do it on their own, and some people really need someone else to guide them. And so, that's one of the things that I do with the hypnotherapy. In fact, most of the stuff that I do now, it really is focused around success, career success, entrepreneurial success, that kind of thing. Okay. Trying to help my goal, Jamu, and I see like you're living your dream right now, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to live my dream.
Yeah. But I mean, that's that trying to is kind of following your path to living your dream.
Most definitely.
And there's so many people out there that are stuck at their shitty jobs, mm-hmm. and they feel trapped. And and I was there once, and it's tough. It's being an entrepreneur is not an easy path.
No, it's not at all.
But it's so worth it.
Yes,
right?
It is.
I mean, when you think about coming into the studio, you get excited, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah. And so that's the same way I feel every morning when I wake up. I'm like, I can't wait to get to work.
Wow.
And even stuff I don't want to do, it's still like, but it's part of the grand mission. And so that's really where I want to try to help people is, people spend 40 years of their life at work. Wouldn't it be great if you actually liked what you were doing and felt more in control?
Yeah. So what is it that you give them? How do you, I don't want to say possess, mm-hmm. but how do you tap into that part of their mind that they're not able to tap into, mm-hmm. And get them to believe in something? Mm-hmm. Is that going too far to ask? I mean, because
No.
Okay.
No. So the way hypnosis works, and there's several different theories, but the one that I think makes the most sense is that, I don't know how much you know about brainwave theory, but I'm going to go ahead and break that down for the folks that don't know. So there's electrical activity throughout our bodies. Mm-hmm. And in our brains, we have electrical activity that starts off in, if we go the lowest, we're down in like delta, and that means like the waves are going really slowly, the electrical activity. As we go up into theta, they're going a little bit faster. It's kind of like when if you ever see those like those EKG machines, and they're like this. Yes. Sort of like that for the brain, though.
Okay.
Like you and I right now, we're in beta. That means there's a whole lot of activity going on.
Okay.
And so when we go down to the next level, that's alpha. So it goes a little bit slower, and people will recognize alpha by if you're ever like watching a movie, reading a book or something, and you kind of zone out. Mm-hmm. That's kind of alpha right there.
Okay.
And then theta is when you like it's actually called the hypnic jerk. If you've ever been like trying to go to sleep and you're kind of halfway there and all of a sudden you kind of jerk like this, mm-hmm. It's called the hypnic jerk. Sometimes, like mine is I've fallen off a horse or I step off a curb or something like that, and you kind of jump. Yeah. You in your mind you do that. You feel like you're asleep, but you're not. And so what I do in hypnosis, I use certain techniques, and it depends on the kind of work that I'm doing. If I'm doing like therapeutic stuff, I'm just going to kind of talk a little bit slower. Mm-hmm. I'm going to use certain language patterns. I'm going to have them focus on something, and their brainwaves are going to start slowing down, and then they basically go into trance, and that can be, either alpha or theta. And then what happens is your guard is up really in beta. Like if I just told you right now, whatever, you feel 1,000 times more confident. You go, not really, and for a smoker or something, you're a non-smoker. No, I'm not. But once their guard gets down, when they're in those more relaxed places, it's kind of like the conscious mind kind of goes away, and the unconscious mind just kind of goes, oh, okay, sure. And so it varies for everybody. For some people, those changes happen like this, and sometimes it takes 3 or 4 sessions, 6 sessions. Sometimes it's a lifetime, of trying to just kind of beat that message into you to help you to do better.
So it sounds like it's how open your mind is to the process?
Absolutely, yeah.
So basically, it's just like anything else in life.
It is. It really is. And the thing is so, like, some people will think, well, I can't be hypnotized. Well, hypnosis itself, everybody can be hypnotized because it's, as I've just told you, it's based on brain waves, where your brain waves are at. So we all, when we wake up, we start off in delta. We're in deep sleep is delta. Those are the really slow brain waves. When we wake up, we go into beta. So every morning, we're actually going through hypnosis because hypnosis, again, happens in theta and in alpha. So the waves that are like this, a little bit like this. So we all, when we wake up, we're actually going through the same brain waves as hypnosis. We don't call it hypnosis then. We just call it waking up. And then when we go to sleep, same thing. We're kind of going back through it. So everyone can experience hypnosis, but not everybody will accept the suggestions as quickly as other people. And so some people just accept them really quickly, and those are going to be great subjects for the stage. And then some people, it takes a little bit longer, and they're going to be good subjects for hypnotherapy.
Okay. So let's say you're placed in a situation, and I'll give my situation because my fans already know.
Yeah.
I've been through a divorce.
Okay.
Very, very hurtful divorce. And so I'm not at the place where I was, but I'm still getting over the hurt. Is that a form of hypnosis? Have I hypnotized myself through my feelings to be placed in a certain situation? And is it me, through my emotional state, keep hypnotizing myself to feeling these emotions? Is that my own hypnotism?
Could be. So, and here's one of the things that every time you go back and relive these memories, it kind of gives you another charge, right? It's one of the reasons that I don't know about some of the different treatment programs that are out there. When you have to get up and talk about your story.
Yes.
Because every single time that you're telling it, you're reliving it, right? And so it's just kind of cementing it in. Same thing with your emotions. A lot of times when people go through a breakup or something, they want to talk about it. And it's great, you got to talk about it at first, right?
Most definitely.
Get it out. But it's like every time that you keep talking about it, you're just kind of reinvigorating it, right? And so the best thing is once you get it all out, you don't want to suppress these things, but you want to get it out.
Yes.
But then, you want to let it go. And there's some great techniques for that, for letting it go. One of the easiest things that I find is because I actually get a lot of people like. In fact, my friends actually have a website. I think it's called getovermyx.com.
Okay, I'm going to check that out.
My hypnotist friends down in Phoenix, William Deal and Benito Garcia, so they really specialize in that thing.
Okay.
And we get people will actually call me up and go, "Can you make me forget my ex because it's been that bad?"
Yeah.
And it's like, here's the thing. You can't forget them completely because it would be really weird. Right, there would be like these chunks of time. You're like, what the hell happened during that time in my life, right? And not everybody's going to be a good candidate for that anyway. I mean, not everyone's going to react like that, but it would be very weird. You'd be like, I went to the Grand Canyon back in 2015. Wait, how did I get there? Who was I with? Right? But then you're going to start thinking about it, and then it's going to start coming back to you like, oh, that's right, that person. Much better if it was like it happened, you were with them, but who cares? It's like looking at somebody else's, like watching a movie of somebody else's life. Who cares?
Yeah.
So, yes, you can hypnotize yourself. And, one of the best things that you can do for yourself is when those memories come up is you try to turn them black and white because that kind of decreases the charge.
Now, what do you mean by turning it black and white?
So just like you're watching a black and white movie, So
Okay.
if you're visual, that's what actually I should
Yes,
break
yes.
that down. Yeah, if you're visual, a lot of times they're really in bright color. People can relive these memories in color. So you want to try and turn them black and white, make them fuzzy, distorted. And that's what we actually do in hypnosis when people come in for that. Some people are more auditory, like because of your music, so you might be more auditory. And so for you, it would be like every time that you imagine hearing their voice, now we make it something silly, like it's Minnie Mouse, you know, right? Or it's or we turn the volume off completely.
Yes.
If it's feelings, if it's more like an emotional, like feeling like thing that we can kind of imagine those draining out, that kind of a thing. And so a lot of these exercises people can do on their own. It's just with the hypnosis, it makes it a little more powerful. That's all.
Got you. So through your training, because there's a lot of men that are going through so much stuff. Do you have a lot of men clients that come to you? Because I know the suicide ratio for men has gone up. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's crazy out there.
It is, yeah.
And so that's another reason why I created this podcast is for men to be able to come on and be able to say what they need to say, get it off their chest,
Yeah.
and try to live the rest of their life, but with support. Because what I've come to find out, it does take a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village to raise a person. You have to have the right people around you in order for you to function in a correct way. If you have the wrong fruit around you, you'll die.
It's true, yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's funny how that goes on because you can think that the people that gave you birth, such as my parents, I love them, but we're not in good standings right now. So I know to keep I know to keep myself away from them because their energy, it feels negative every time that I'm around them. And so something in me was like, well, we can't do this, but we can love them from afar. We can respect them.
Sure.
We can honor what they've done, but we can't be around them because it does something to you. It creates this negative atmosphere and makes you feel a certain way. So how would a person in certain situations be able to, I guess, not really hypnotize, but be able to remove themselves from certain areas? Because there's not too many people that are like me or like yourself that have the opportunity to have either educated themselves on the understanding of it or they just told themselves, hey, I'm not going through this. There are people that both men and women that constantly put themselves in what I call the crisis field.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any information how they can get out of that or what they could do to work themselves and put themselves in a better environment?
Yeah. Well, I love what you said there and about removing yourself from that environment. So, for some people, it's just going to have to take there's going to have the cojones to just do it, and you don't even have to have that conversation. You don't have to tell your parents, hey, that's why I'm not, we're not resonating. Your old friends and stuff, hey, we're not on the same page anymore, that kind of thing. You just sort of distance yourself. For some people, they really need to like work with a coach or somebody like that, a hypnotist, somebody that's going to help them to get the strength to do that. But like you said something about the food, this is a thing that, and I run into this with clients a lot of times, like a husband and wife, right? One of them has a weight problem and the other one keeps all this crappy food around, right? And so like if my wife keeps a bunch of potato chips and candy around and stuff like that, and it's around me, maybe I go and eat it. And the thing is that my client, even the spouse, will be like, well, you should be able to control yourself. I'm like, yeah, you should be able to. But would it be okay to keep a bottle of bourbon on the countertop if I was an alcoholic? Of course not.
Not at all.
That's obvious, right? And it's the same thing with toxic friends and stuff, You think you do. You have to, have the strength to like tell your spouse, hey, keep the stuff away from me. Keep it in the trunk of your car. You eat the ice cream when you're outside the house, something like that. Or remove yourself. Say, look, I respect that you love your parents and stuff, but we don't get along, and it makes me feel certain ways I can't handle for whatever reason. Put it on yourself too. I'm not able to handle that situation.
Most definitely.
Because I remember, I've dealt with some kids in the past. I'll tell you, like kids where their behavior is in such a way that I can't manage myself, and I'm like, look, I can't be around this kid.
Yeah.
Nothing against the kid. It's on me. I'm the one that can't control, my reaction to the kid. I feel angry, and I don't want to feel angry around a kid. And I think you have to do the same thing. And yes, I would say for men, it's usually veterans. It's guys, especially if they've seen combat, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And with PTSD, but I also work with women with PTSD. And the thing is, it's a tough time to be a guy. And I know it's not popular to say that, because, hey, men, and there's probably some women out there right now going, oh, you're going to mansplain to us now. I'll tell you, it's a really tough time. And I remember when I grew up in the 80s, we were kind of going in this place where like, it was in a place where like men, you shouldn't be so masculine. Right. And so we went through this whole thing where, it was a new wave and I had earrings and I'd put makeup on sometimes and wear a tail and all this stuff. But I think that we've kind of, men need to be men.
Yes.
Right? They do. And it's not a popular opinion among feminists and this kind of a thing, and men that are more enlightened or whatever. But, and saying men need to be men doesn't mean they have to be a certain way, but we need to be free to be men, like, and express our masculinity. And just because it's masculinity doesn't mean it's toxic masculinity.
Most definitely. I mean, I believe that's what makes a man. A woman is very feminine, which is, I call the mother traits, which is things that we love about our mother. Why she would,
right.
We go to her for certain situations. We could cry to her, and then we have our friends that it's the masculine situation where we can talk and joke and roughhouse and do certain things of that nature. But I believe there needs to be an equal balance, and that's what we're not seeing today. And too many, the world is pushing their agenda on us, and we don't know where to face or where to go. And I was wondering, does hypnotism help out with that? Because I believe the true concept of finding out where you should go and where you should be has to deal with internally. It has nothing to do with external, because the world is going to give its views. That's an external thing.
Right. Yeah.
The internal thing is figuring out where you fit in and where you belong and what it is that you're going to do and finding your purpose. And I believe that's what hypnotism can help you do. And for me, the reason why I invited you on the show for two reasons.
Yeah.
You're great at what it is that you do.
Thank you.
Second of all, I want you to hypnotize me.
Absolutely. We'll do it. Yeah.
But really getting your point of view on, I believe hypnotism is a form of manifestation. And for me, it's you playing the part on whatever it is to get me on a certain frequency, or whoever it is on that frequency that they couldn't get themselves on. But my question to you is, once you get them there, can you keep them there? Or can they break that frequency? And if so, what makes them relapse?
Great question. So the root of all evil does. And it's actually stress. I call stress the root of all evil.
Okay.
Because stress makes us, eat more, drink more, smoke more, kick the dogs, fight with our spouse, all that stuff, right?
Yes.
So that does cause relapse. And it varies for everyone. For some people, really, it's amazing. Like we'll do like 1 or 2 sessions, and it's like the problem is sort of just gone for them. They oftentimes will have to come back for a tune-up, later on, because it takes a long time for change to manifest and to get locked in. And like if you've ever made a habit change or something, like maybe you quit smoking, for instance, if you're a smoker, and you can go years and years, and then all of a sudden something happens and you're back either wanting a cigarette or you're smoking. Because the way habits are and ways of thinking is like railroad tracks. And all we can really do is cover up those railroad tracks or divert them, get them onto something else. So someone like, for instance, someone's a smoker, we're not going to get rid of the train tracks that are leading to the smoking, but we can cover them up, or we can lead them off to exercise, or lead them off to, meditation or something like that. So, if I'm working with somebody, I think that the best way to get them, and what I mean by I think that, and everybody's different. Everyone's, every man is going to have more masculine and feminine energy, a balance, and same with women. Some will have more masculine energy than feminine. But we're not, even though we want to try to, it seems like nowadays, especially, they want to say that both sexes are the same. They're not the same.
They're not.
They're just not, and they're not intended to be.
No, not at all.
And the more that we fight that, I think the more problems we're going to have. So what I would do if I were working with somebody like that is actually giving them more confidence in themselves. And that's what you're kind of talking about, that internal work.
Yes.
Is giving them the confidence to be who they really want to be, who they need to be. I felt like in the 80s, I was like, well, I can't be like a masculine man. I can't be like my dad, who's like a man's man. I got to be, I got to be a little bit feminine, I got to, be a little bit androgynous, with the earrings and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with earrings. That doesn't make you feminine, but that's
Most
sort
definitely.
of in our society at that time, that was a feminine thing, right? Nowadays, it's very universal. So that's how I would approach that kind of a thing.
Okay. Yeah. So let me think. What is the craziest thing that you've ever gone through, as far as when you tried to hypnotize somebody and they went too far? Like,
too far.
Yeah, it wasn't due to
Yeah.
you. It was just due to maybe something it is that was in their mind, but they just didn't think of it at the time. Have you ever had anything like that?
No, but I have had what we call like abreactions, and I think that might be where you're headed.
Okay.
An abreaction is anything that's not what we're expecting.
Gotcha.
And it's only really happened to me on stage, and so an abreaction would just be like a problem. So and it happens so rarely. I mean, it's literally happened twice in all the time I've been doing hypnosis, all the shows, all the clients, hypnotized thousands of people. It's happened twice, and it's funny. New hypnotists are always like, "What do I do? What do I do?" I'm like, "Well, this is what you do, but don't worry, it's not going to happen probably." What happens sometimes is people will go in their mind, sometimes back to a traumatic childhood experience.
Yes.
Or just a traumatic experience from a week ago. Who knows? Maybe, and with PTSD, maybe they go back to the war or something like that. The other thing that can happen is sometimes people just get confused. I've had this happen. I had a woman up on stage, and all of a sudden she kind of popped out of hypnosis. She's like, "What's going on? Where am I?" She was off in some other place, and all of a sudden she woke up and she just didn't know what she was, where she was. There really is. There's a lot of myths about hypnosis, and one of those is that people can like get stuck in hypnosis. It doesn't happen. There's what can happen is that people will. There are certain, if you go like a really deep place, you won't want to come back. It's like, but you eventually will. You'll just fall asleep and then wake up. But there's this induction called the Esdale induction. I remember my friend Sean was demonstrating it on me. And it's one where you just keep going down further and further down into different levels of trance. And I remember there's like this part where he's like, "All right, now just move your knee up." And I'm like thinking, "Screw you, dude. I don't want to move," So I know what's going on, but I'm so relaxed. I'm like, leave me alone. You know what I mean? I don't want to be bothered. I would say that's what happens sometimes when people go too deep. They just don't want to come back.
Got you. And when they don't want to come back, do you plant like keywords or key phrases to bring them back, or do they just come back on their own?
Yeah, usually, I mean, if you kind of nudge them like this or something, I've never had to do anything like that. I'll just count them up a couple of times. There are some things that we learn that we can tell them that'll help them to express the urgency of that they need to come back right now. But there's going to be problems. But those are secrets I can't tell.
Hey, I understand.
signed up for my training.
I understand. It also, how when you watch movies and somebody's been hypnotized or placed in a trance, and they've gone over, let's say the movie started when they were young and gave them confidence to do whatever, but somebody said a word and it just killed everything. I guess they found the key word. Is that a real thing, or is it just you're just hypnotized for those brief moments and then you come back? Or can you actually be hypnotized for years? Is that possible?
Well, so you can be hypnotized for years, sort of. I mean, people get hypnotized for stopping smoking, right? They don't smoke again. I was just thinking I need a coffee cup and a spoon and just going like this.
Does that really work? That soothes the mind?
That's not how we do it usually. That was purely theatrical. And anybody who's watched any movie or TV show, if you've seen anything about hypnosis, I've not seen anything that was legitimate that was seemed even close to being the way that it happens, which makes sense because actually, like especially the hypnotherapy side, it would be so boring that nobody would watch it because it's like if we'll do a demo here in just a little bit if you want to and you can try it. I mean, it'll be interesting for a few minutes and then it's like he's just talking really slowly and the other guy's just kind of getting relaxed, So it wouldn't be exciting to watch. So can we do that? So I think probably with the right conditioning over time, the right person, that kind of stuff, you probably could implant some things. But you can also be brainwashed, right? You can also...
We're constant. That's constantly being happening.
Well, we are being brainwashed all the time, right? Advertising, some of us buy Tide even though we know the store brand is just as good. Right? So that's brainwashing, really.
Yes, it is.
And you notice, too, here's the thing. As I said, when you're watching TV, you're in alpha a lot of times because you're in that really zoned out place. And you're there because that's that place where like if your spouse or somebody tries to talk to you, you don't even hear them. Like you're just kind of zoned out, right? And so that's hypnosis. And when do we see advertising, right? During alpha. So you're actually in trance and they're giving you suggestions. That's all they're doing. They're giving you suggestions. And some people will watch those commercials forever. They'll still buy the store brand. And some of them, boy, they need Tide.
They have the voice, the look. They have this thing down. But I believe the new hypnotism, it's not even new. We just call it a different name because it's in a different class. It's called marketing.
It really is. It is. And you know what? There's so much in marketing that is the same kind of stuff that we do in hypnosis. It really is. And also in the field of, what would we call it? Influence. There's certain keywords we use. There's embedded commands, things like that. So like if I'm saying a sentence, so Ajamu, you may feel, wouldn't it be great if you had me on every single week, and so I can give you kind of suggestions like this. Wouldn't it be great if I should come back every week and do this show with you? So that's kind of a very obvious, but I'm saying I should come back every week, right? But I'm kind of hiding it between, wouldn't it be cool if, that kind of a thing. So I'm kind of giving you a direct suggestion, but I'm kind of...
Indirectly.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. And so that happens all the time in marketing.
Yes. That happens all the time in business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And actually in like pickup. I mean, a lot of the stuff that pickup guys, picking up girls kind of a thing, a lot of stuff they're doing is just hypnotic language patterns. And NLP. I don't know if you're familiar with neuro-linguistic programming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Not too familiar, but yes, I do know it's the way that you talk, and cadence yourself. Also, it has to do with the way you look and different things about that nature. People say that I have that. I've actually come across the woman that has told me that. She said, by the way that you're talking, the tonality of your voice is very soothing. Are you trying to... I'm like, not really, but thank you for letting me know.
Well, see, if you learn it, you'll be even better, yes. Some people just comes naturally, right? Yes. Or you learn it in different ways.
Yeah.
But, I want to go back and address the one thing about, can you make, like, basically give somebody a trigger type of a thing,
yes.
Kind of a... what do they call that? The Manchurian Candidate type of a thing. Make somebody kill somebody later on.
Yeah.
There's a couple of great YouTube videos you can watch. There's one from Darren Brown and there's one from Tom Silver, and they both are able to get somebody to shoot someone.
Really?
And the way it works is they don't tell you. It's not like I just say, "Hey, Ajamu, go shoot that guy." But if I get you into trance, and I do this over several sessions, maybe, and I convince you that this guy over here is trying to kill your family. It's your obligation to protect your family, right? So, of course, you're going to do what you have to do to protect your family. So it's kind of messing with the mind in that way. So it's absolutely possible. It's tough. It's not easy. The thing is, like, people are afraid hypnotists are going to make them do stuff and abuse them and stuff. But there's far more abuse complaints against teachers, lawyers, police officers, dentists. I mean, all the other professions way more.
I think people are scared of them doing stuff that they're not aware of than actually being there physically and it happening to them. I guess it has to do with your perception. So I don't think hypnotism is a bad thing. I actually think it's therapeutic in the sense of finding an understanding that lies with everything that you've piled on top of it. For myself, I know in order to get over certain things in life, I've literally just piled dirt on top of it.
Yeah.
But when the rain comes,
Exactly. Yeah, it's a great example.
man,
When the rain comes,
it
those
washes
train
that-
tracks are back. Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, what do I do? Like, I've been in situations where I'm just crying, and I'm like, what am I crying for? And then a memory comes, and I'm like, wow, why is this happening now?
Right.
And it's I guess I hypnotize myself to get over it, but I wouldn't even really call it hypnotism. It was just a form of trying to cover something. I don't think hypnotism is a form of trying to cover something. I think it's a form of trying to unveil something, whether it's in a funny moment or something that is real, that you have suppressed for so long. And so that's why I want to try this hypnotist thing out with you. But my thing is totally different where I want to be.
Okay.
So once I tell you it's going to be off camera, you guys aren't going to be able to see this. But I have a different path on where I want to go, and I want to see if your hypnotism will actually help out. But where can these people find you at? And what more information? Where will you be performing at next? What else is new for you?
Where can they find me? Peeking in their windows. With my pocket watch. Look at the pocket watch. In fact, I forgot to bring my pocket watch. That'd been fun. We don't actually need those anymore. So where can they see me? So I think, I don't do a whole lot of public shows in the Puget Sound area right now.
Okay.
Most of my public shows are down in Arizona. I just, for some reason, my website, the SEO is really good for Arizona.
Okay.
Because I lived there for a few years. So the best way to get a hold of me is JimKellnerHypnotist.com.
Okay.
You can also follow me on Facebook, Jim Kellner. And go watch the TEDx talk. Just if you type in Jim Kellner Hypnotist TEDx, you'll find that. That's how to get a hold of me.
Okay. You guys, please go check out Mr. Jim Kellner. See, I got it right. He hypnotized me. Jim Kellner. Jim Kellner.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you, my friend.
That's right. Did you want to show them a demo of the? We can cut out the part where you tell me what the issue is, and we can.
Sure. Let's
see what happens.
Let's go ahead and go for that.
All right. Cool.
Okay. So, what is it that I need to do?
Tell me what you want to work on.
I want to work on being a billionaire.
A billionaire. All right.
A
billionaire. Now, why are you trying to hide that from the folks?
Well, it's not really hiding it. It just seems astronomically impossible.
Perfect. That's great. Let me just tell a little story.
Okay.
I was at this event back in 2017.
Okay.
At an event. It was New Year's Eve, and it was an empowerment event where we're going to plan our future for the next year, right?
Yes.
So the leaders has the people pass out these little cards, and we're going to write down our goals for the year. Right?
Okay.
So I'm like, so I'm starting to write, and I'm like, she goes, I want you to write down your goals for the year. What kind of your intention. And I was like, all right, I'm going to have a positive impact on 10,000 people, right? Which seemed astronomical, right? 10,000. This was back 5 years ago. But right now I'd probably feel pretty comfortable saying I could reach 10,000 in a year.
Most definitely.
Then I'll get 10,000 just from this episode. Anyway, because this is huge. And then she goes, but I want you to be audacious. I love that word. Audacious. And when you're setting your goals, think about that. Audacious goals. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? One of my favorite quotes ever. So I'm like, oh, hell yeah, 1 million people. And I'm like, there's no freaking way. Part of me's going, there's no freaking way, 1 million people. But I thought, because at that time I had my TEDx was scheduled. I was like, some of these TEDx's, they do reach 1 million. I'm like, it could happen. But I wrote 1 million. Come around, we do my TEDx. I get about 10,000 views. I'm like, what the? This isn't it. What's going on? And eventually I ended up getting about 40,000 or something, which is way lower than I expected. But still good. I remember one of my, this is terrible, but I remember one of the guys that I had done the TEDx with, his talk was on something else. And I remember like the next day or two or something, he's like, wow, I'm already up to like 600 views. And at that point I was at 10,000. I was like, oh, that's great, dude. So I'm lucky. Hypnosis is kind of an interesting thing. But here's a funny thing. So I'm going along, and all of a sudden in October of that year, I get an email again, kind of going, oh, this is bullshit. And they're like, we want you to come on and do this thing with, it's called Kids Meet A Hypnotist. And I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out. And so I look at their channel. I'm like, holy crap, they get a lot of views. They have like Magician Meets a Hypnotist, or, ex-con meets, or Kids Meet an Ex-con, these kind of things. It's really kind of, they had this whole series on weird things. Yeah. Kids Meet a Bank Robber. There was all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah. So I go and I do this video, and I don't think much about it, right? It gets released. That thing is up to, I think, almost 4 million views now.
Wow.
And it happened in that year. So my audacious goal, right, was far exceeded just by setting that intention, or not. Coincidence? Who knows? But so this is why on my social media now, where it says, there's like a place for you to put a little quote, though. Mine is to have a positive impact on 1 billion people. So I don't think that's a crazy, ridiculous goal at all.
Okay.
So a billion. You want to be a billionaire.
Yes, a billionaire. One is for myself to know that I have gotten there, and I'm an African-American male. Mm-hmm. 2 is to help out as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So my due diligence in that is basically becoming the bank for people, having a board of directors. We sit down and read people's plans, whether it's school or building a business or whatever it is that they may want to do. We figure out who's for real, interview them, and then give them the opportunity to achieve their dream.
Nice.
And we just help them grow.
Nice.
We're a part of the process through the rest of their life. And we do this with a multiple group of people. So I hire a staff, and we do this. So money is not really just for me. It's to build the dream for everybody else.
Gotcha. Yeah. So build the dream for everyone else.
I just want to be part of it and the financier. So that's why I want the billion. And that's why it's so important to me, because going to school, I've learned that you can't do anything really that can turn the tide and have people really looking at you unless you're at the 100 million mark. But to really make a difference, you have to be a billionaire.
Okay.
And this has been told, like on my MBA course, I learned that once you reach the $100 million mark is when you need to find a professional military team to protect you and your family.
I bet.
So once you get to the billionaire, it's different, but it's because now all eyes are on you. Even when there's secret billionaires out there that people don't really know about, but still there are eyes on them. And so for me, it's like, okay, when you have this much amount of wealth, what do you have it for? And when you look at these people, most of them are oil conglomerates. Some of them have won through crypto or many other forms of stock market. But it's like, where's the give back? I mean, there are some people that do. I mean, most of these people do have charities, but there's no true give back.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's the people that have put their love, their trust in, that I've built friendships with. I mean, even the people that I can't stand because they've hurt me, they all have a place in this because I want to make sure that my legacy is to leave the understanding of he helped. Because even in my demise, that billion or those billions or whatever that transforms into still goes out to those other people. I don't keep that. My family may keep a portion of it, but it still goes to the community. In that form, I'm just the activist for the people.
Nice. Nice. I love that because, you know, a lot of times people do say, and this is one of the things that I always think, say, I want to be rich. Okay, but what are you going to do, right, to be rich?
Exactly.
How are you going to impact the world with that? Or is it just, I just want stacks of money, right?
Right.
So I love that. And actually my company slogan is your success is my success.
Yes.
And that's what you're saying. When you're successful, these families, these people are successful, you'll be successful, and vice
Most
versa.
definitely.
Absolutely. Great. Would you rather do kind of a slow kind of a process? Or you want to go to rapid induction?
What's the difference? I know one is fast and one is slow. Which one is most beneficial?
Let me ask you this: on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very, very analytical and 1 being not very analytical, where would you say you lie?
Probably about 7, 8.
7, 8 analytical? Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. Good. Yeah. Okay. And then tell me, kind of, where's a very relaxing place for you? Either someplace you've actually been to, thought about, imagined, fantasized about, or something like that.
So my tranquility place, and I'll show you after this because it's my studio.
Oh, awesome! Great. Yeah. Cool.
So that's my place where I zen out at.
Okay. And what do you like about it?
The biggest thing that I like about it is that I created that place. I built it. I went in there, I looked at it, and I saw what I wanted in there, and I placed it. Everything was built with my own hands. And so to go in there and know that this is something that I built from something that I was thinking about mentally, and for that to be an actuality, that's astonishing to me.
Yeah, that's great. You created it. Absolutely. Analytical folks aren't the best for rapid inductions, and that's what I kind of figured. So, because it's hard because they're thinking the whole time, why is he doing this? What's going on? And all this. So, and for other folks that are a little less analytical, they're just like, whatever. You know, it's weird. I wish I was like them too, because I mean, they can just go out. I can just look at them and go sleep. No, whatever. So why don't we do this? Would you mind just putting your back up against there and just relaxing a little bit?
Sure.
Good. All right, Ajahn. So I want you to just go and close your eyes and just take a few relaxing breaths. We'll just spend about 20 minutes on this. So go ahead and just imagine the possibility, Ajamu, that you could go into a very deep state of trance. Even though you've got all these lights on, you've got the camera, you've got the computers going on, you can maybe even hear a little bit of hum in the headphones. But I wonder what it would be like if you could just kind of let yourself go completely. And just kind of think about the possibility of just letting go. And just know that nothing's going to happen that you don't want to have happen. The subconscious mind protects us, guides us. Anytime that you need to make yourself more comfortable, you're free to move around. Good. Yep. You may even get an itch from time to time or need to adjust yourself, your position. It's totally fine. And I wonder what it'd be like. Would you just please go ahead and just focus on your intentions, your goals for today's session? What you've told me about. And you shared with us that you want to be a billionaire, and you've shared us, perhaps more importantly, why you want to be a billionaire. What I heard was that you want to be of service to thousands, maybe even millions of people. And there may be things that you didn't even mention that are kind of important to you, but you didn't mention them for whatever reason, and you can keep those to yourself. We don't need to know those because you do. Good, Ajamu. And I wonder if you'd just imagine, to the best of your ability, that you're standing in front of a chalkboard, even while you're just lying here, relaxing. Just imagine you're standing in front of a chalkboard, or maybe it's a whiteboard, and you draw a great big circle. And within that circle, you draw the letter A, and then you erase it. And then the letter B, and erase it. And just do me a favor and go all the way through the alphabet. Just drawing the letter and then erasing it, and then coming back. So A to Z, Z to A. The whole time still really focused on that goal, that intention. Imagine that intention, that goal begins to maybe act like water so that it's flowing through you. Imagine some gentle waves of relaxation infused with your intentions, your goals. Imagine those waves begin to just kind of move all the way through your entire being, physically, mentally, emotionally, even while you continue drawing those letters on the alphabet. That's right. And you may begin to notice, Ajamu, those gentle waves of relaxation. And if you're watching this, listening this at home or something like that, or in the car, it's important that you not listen to this while you're driving or moving around. You need to be relaxing, just like Ajamu. And just feel those gentle waves of relaxation infused with your goals, your intentions, being of service, watching them move into the neck and shoulders, perhaps, dissolving any tension that was there. Listening as they move down the arms to the fingertips. Just feel those ripples of relaxation and the intentions of service and bringing into existence that which you want most. Good. That's right, you're doing perfectly. And then just feel those gentle waves moving down through the torso, the hips and legs, and all the way down to the bottoms of your feet. Perhaps you even begin to feel as if you're wrapped up in a warm and comfortable blanket of total relaxation. Feeling strong, feeling comfortable, feeling relaxed. And only going as deeply into hypnosis as you're comfortable going today, and perhaps the next time you listen to this, you'll go even deeper. And just allow every breath that you take to guide you a little bit deeper and further into relaxation. You're relaxing there. You're listening to my voice. You're breathing. You can hear certain things. Perhaps you can feel sensations in the body, a numbness or tingling somewhere in the body. As you just allow yourself to let go completely. At times you may even feel as if you're floating a bit, or even feeling heavier and heavier. Nothing else to think about, nothing else to do. It's said that what we focus on is what we achieve in life. People with bad habits, they tend to focus on those bad habits, and that's why those habits are manifested in their life. And there's something that you want, Ajamu. And those of you that are watching out on YouTube or other places, perhaps listening, there's things that you want. And I want you to consider the possibility that the more you want it, the more you focus on it. The more you focus on it, the more you want it. The more you focus, the more you want, the more you do to achieve it. And just like those times when you feel thirsty, and at first it's just a little bit of a thirst, but it begins to grow. And it grows and it begins to become uncomfortable. It becomes uncomfortable until the point where you just have to drink something. And I wonder if that's what your goal is beginning to feel like. That goal that you want, there's a thirst for it, a hunger for it. And while you can see and feel and hear and know that that goal is out there in the future, and perhaps you don't even know the path to get there yet, but you know that it's there. And you find that you're focused on it every day. And you realize that you can still be comfortable and happy and fulfilled each and every day while you still work towards that goal, knowing that every step that you take is getting you closer and closer and closer. And there will be some days that you feel as if you're running towards it, and some days you're merely walking. And that's what's important in the grand scheme of things, because as you know, when you're creating something, you're actually in control. And I wonder if things are starting to click into place as certain things, as you continue to listen to this process over the coming days, weeks, perhaps even years, as you begin to focus on these concepts and think about them and allow them to really infuse themselves with your entire being, physically, mentally, emotionally, perhaps even spiritually. Certain things click into place. Certain things begin to resonate with you. And I wonder what it would be like if you were able to just look out into the future now. And I don't know if that future, with that $1 billion, with that service to thousands and millions of people, I don't know if that's a week away, a month away, a year away, 5 years. But there might be a part of you that knows. But I'd like you to travel forward in time to that time. And you're there. And you're living that dream life. And as you're there, Ajamu, I want you to just notice. Notice what you see. Perhaps you can see the people's faces that you're helping. Perhaps you can see the team members that are helping you to create these realized dreams for these people. Perhaps you can see the faces of the investors, the partners. Perhaps you see yourself in an office somewhere, or some other setting. Perhaps one of these people, or many of them, are actually taking you to show you the result of the work that you've done for them. Perhaps some of them have started businesses or bought homes or whatever it is that you're helping them to achieve. That's right. And you get that big smile on your face because you can see the impact. And you realize that all the hard work that it took you to get there was worth every second. It was worth everything that it took to get you to that place where you could see all of those smiling faces. And maybe their children are there too, and their children's children. That's right. And you may start to feel very emotional, and that's okay. And maybe one of those little children comes up and hugs your legs and says, "Thank you." Yeah, that's right. And you realize that what you've done has helped so many people. And you know that you're leaving a legacy for the world. You're leaving the world in a better place. And you can hear their words thanking you. Perhaps you hear more people coming to you and saying they want to invest in your dream. They want to help. How can we help you to help others? Your colleagues respect your leadership and your vision. And you remember to forget all of the negativity you received in the past. You remember to forget all of the disbelievers as you forget to remember about them, because all that matters is where you're at now. And as you put those blinders on, that focus, nothing else matters. Nothing can deter you from your path, your destiny. And I think you know that you feel something inside of you that is pulling you in this direction. And I believe that there's a reason that you want this goal. That you have a calling, a need, a desire, a soul's purpose to connect these people with their dreams. And their success is your success, and your success is their success. And perhaps as you're there in the future date, you begin to notice that it's not just these people and their families that you've impacted, but all of the people that they've now impacted. And all of the people that they have impacted, and their families and their friends. And perhaps there are certain things about this lifestyle that you enjoy, and that's okay, because you realize that you've worked hard to help others, and it's okay to take some time and some things for ourselves. And perhaps you hear that little voice inside yourself then telling you how proud you are of yourself. Friends and family patting you on the back and telling you how proud they are of the work that you've done, which doesn't even feel like work because it was really just passion. It became play, it became a game, a mission. Your own work of art, your creation. And you get that same feeling as when you created your studio and you put everything into place. You put the right people into place. You put the right money in the right place. And everything starts to click into place. And perhaps you're seeing each and every time that you watch or listen to this, you're beginning to see how things are coming together, or perhaps all you're doing is just moving in the direction. And it's all becoming evident as you continue to move in that direction. And as you're listening to my voice, you realize that you can come all the way back to the here and now and bringing everything with you that you learned, felt, heard, saw, everything that's helpful. You bring it back to the here and now. And perhaps you even look back and you begin to become aware of how certain things in your past have all led to this day, and this day led to that day, And that day led to that day, to your dream. And everything begins to make sense, and you understand that even those things that may have been difficult, challenging in the past, they were exactly what you needed to propel you forward to get to that dream where you're helping all of those people. Watch it all become manifested before you. Allow the feelings to become solidified as everything clicks into place. And then go all the way back to the beginning of this session when we first started talking, and you can become aware of anything that was especially helpful, and you can remember to grasp onto that. And anything that didn't seem quite right, you just let that go. And right here, right now, that you realize that you are actually in control this entire time. And so if there was anything at all that you needed to see, hear, or feel that you didn't, you can imagine it happening right here, right now. So that right here, right now, Ajamu, this is the most powerful, most effective hypnotic session it could possibly be. And you're taking this into your future. And certain things may become evident to you because certain things are outside of awareness at this moment, but there's an inner part of you that's becoming more aware of all of the things that you're becoming aware of right here and in the future. Because sometimes you know what you know, and at other times we simply are unaware and we just don't know what we don't know. But what you do know is that everything is coming together in the perfect way, in the perfect space. And each and every day when you awaken in the morning, you find that you're focused on that goal. And every night when you go to sleep, you are focused on that goal. And you take this goal into your dreams. And in a few moments, I'm going to bring you back to your fully conscious self. Although if this is a time later on when if you're wanting to sleep or relax, you're welcome to just do so and ignore the suggestion to wake. But if it's a time to be wide awake and alert, then on the count of 5, you can come back into the room feeling rested, refreshed, feeling really good, feeling really focused, really excited about that dream. So now as I say 1, you start to make your way back, feeling more motivated, more determined than ever to follow that dream. 2, coming back feeling more confident in your ability to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. 3, perhaps wiggling your fingers and toes a bit as you're coming out of the hypnosis. And 4, maybe you want to stretch and move the body a little bit. Feels so good to stretch, that's right. Move the body. And then 5, whenever you're ready, you can come back into the room and open your eyes whenever you're ready. Rested, refreshed. Good.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Anything especially interesting? Or?
Just that little kid hugging my leg saying thank you.
Yeah?
That was really cool.
You had a big old smile on your face.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, you were right there. It was awesome. Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Man, I don't even know what else to say at this point. But we appreciate you. We love you. And we want you guys to have the best. So thank you for tuning in to Grown Man Shit. Have a nice day. Until next time.